Let me again share my screen. So what we have discussed is, so up till now we have discussed video creation using OBS. So now we'll go to our next tool, which is video editor, OpenShot video editor. So this OBS, even OpenShot video editor. So these are open source software. So we need not to pay anything to use these software. So these are open source software. So using this OpenShot video editor, so now we'll be doing video editing. So we'll be going for video plus image merging. So then we'll be merging two videos also, or we will be watching how to merge two videos along with images. So we'll be doing these four different tasks using OpenShot video editor. So for this, again, if we want to download this, so then we need to go to this Google, then just write OpenShot video editor. So this openshot.org. So we need to click this link. So here you will see that we'll be having options for downloading this OpenShot video editor. So I have already downloaded, so I will not download again. So by clicking this download link, so we can download this and then we can run. So let me run this video editor for you. So this particular video editor, this is there. Let me open this OpenShot video editor. So I'm trying to open this. Yeah, so now it's there. So this is the first window which appears when we open this OpenShot video editor. So here we will be dealing with these three main parts. So this is the part where we will be loading our video or audio or image files which we want to edit. Then here we can preview our videos, and this is the we can see the timeline where we can perform various editing tasks. So let me add the video here. So for adding video which we want to edit, we can go press this plus import files, or directly we can import files by pressing this file. Then we can click this import files. So now we can go to the our videos which we have already recorded. So I will be trying with the videos which we have just recorded. So say I want to select this one particular video file. So then I will press open. So this video is there. So now if I want to edit this, then I want to drag this file to this timeline. So I can press this plus. So then now I can see that this file is shown here. So this is very small clip. That's why it is covering only very small, what we can say, the part of the timeline. So according to the length of the video, so this video was only of 2 seconds. So that's why it is covering only this particular part. So now if say I want to preview this, then I will click on this. So that way we can have preview. So this is very small video. So let me add some other video. So if I want to delete any, so then just I will press here delete. So this file will get deleted. New project. I will open new project. Save changes to project first. No. So I open new project. Now I will add video files which we have there. So let's say we want to record this particular. We want to edit this particular video file. Again, yes, this video file is having size of around 35 seconds. So we can preview using this. For example, we want to delete certain portion of this video, then we'll go to this tool, which is razor tool. So we press this tool. So then we'll have this vertical line. So from where we want to delete, so we can press this particular razor tool. We can click this razor tool there. So now by clicking, we can see that our video has been divided into two parts. So say I want to delete this particular part. So now we are having three parts. Say if I want to delete this particular middle part. So after dividing our video into different parts, so again I need to click this razor tool. So now if say I want to delete this, so then I will click on this and just press delete from the keyboard. So it will get deleted. So now that part of the video has been deleted from our timeline. So then we can drag this using mouse and we can join these two parts which are left with. So, and if we play again, so So that way we can delete any part from the recorded video. So this way we can delete. So now if we are having these two parts of the video, so our clip has been divided into two clips. So finally we need a single video. So for that, what we need to do, so we need to press this button. So this is export video, or simply go to file and choose this export project. So export video. So when we export our video, so these two files or the multiple video clips will be merged into a single file. So when we just press this export, so we'll have one particular single merged video. So this way we can edit our single video. Now say we want to merge two videos, then what we can do is, so we can import those two videos. So say this is this file is already there, and we want to merge this file with other video. Or let me again open insert two new videos, because already we are having these two this video has two files, so this can create confusion. So new project. So let me add videos. Say we want to merge these two videos. So we then need to add those two videos into this particular project files button. So now drag and drop these videos into the timeline. So this is the first video, this is the second video, and we want to merge these two videos. Then we can arrange these videos onto this timeline, and even we can change the order. So we want to merge like in this order. So to while merging, so we need to connect these drag and drop, and we need to place files in such a way that these two are in touch with each other, or slight overlapping we may ensure for the proper transition, so that there is no break while exporting the video or while seeing the video. So then again, so we can export project, and while when we export the video, we'll have these two videos merged as one single video. So this way we can merge two videos. Now say we want to also include one particular image along with these two videos, or along with one video. So say we have these two videos and we want to include one image. So then for again, we'll add that image into our this project file. So file, import files. So then we can select one particular image. Say, is there any particular image? So we had these images. So let say we have selected this image. So we'll select this image. So here we can see that these are two videos, audio, image is there. So we can add this image to the timeline. So here you can see that this image is there. So this image is there at the starting. Then we can have this first video. And similarly, we had second video. So we have it, yes. So we have said this second video. So now we can see image, first video, second video. And if we preview this, then we can see that this image will be first. So whatever image I have, so this was, I think, other type of image. So if we have static image, so that will be inserted, and when we export this image plus video timeline, so that image will be merged with the videos. So similarly, say we want to include our image in between. So instead of at the starting, say we want to include the image at this point. So then we can delete this image from here. Then we can have first video. Then we can insert image here. So let me import some other image. Again, same sine wave image we are selecting. So we can include this image here. So when we press this, we can see. So that image will be shown between the videos, and after that, the next video will work. So this way, even we can change the duration of the image. Okay, this is one particular duration of the image. So this duration started from 6 seconds to roughly around 16 seconds, and we can change the duration of the image by just selecting the duration of the image from the timeline. So now if we again preview, so we'll have first video, then image will be inserted, then after image, second video will start. So that way, when we arrange our video plus images on timeline, and after that we can export project and export video. So we'll have video plus image or video plus image plus video or whatever we want to do. So we can import those files over our timeline, and we can uh, uh, edit or we can merge different inputs. So this was the basic information about editing videos. So this tool has many other options. We can insert transitions, we can insert effects, but these are the two basically merging of videos, merging of video and images, and maybe deleting some part of the video. So these are the main functions or the tasks which we need to do while uh, our editing while designing our video lectures. So that is the way we can do using this OpenShot video editor. So we have done video editing, single file. We can edit a certain part. Then we have done video and image merging. We have seen video plus video merging. We can have video plus image. So image can be in between or at the start or at the end, or there can be multiple images also. So that way we can do such things. So this was information about video editing. So before we go for video creation using mobile, so let me discuss any question if there are any. Ma'am, is there any question related to video editing using this tool?
Yes, sir. One question was there.
Yeah.
Is it can we add sound music to the video as audio editing?
Yes, we can edit audio timeline also. So there is option of importing audio file. So we can insert merge our audio input with that also. We can do this with using this OpenShot editor.
HOD CSC SSP. Please write your name and also please again write your question in the chat box. Sir, another question, is it possible during lecture if we have any object in my hand related to lecture, am I
Yes.
able to zoom it from recorded video?
From recorded video, I think that that is not possible. That depends on basically video player. So that is not basically part of this particular tool. So that depends on the video player which we are using. So whether we want to, can we zoom certain part of the video. So that is according to my knowledge. So that depends on the video player. So if while delivering we want to do that, but if during recording we want to do that, then we can. If our camera is capable of zoom in or zoom out, then we can. While recording, we can do that. We can zoom in our camera or we can zoom out our camera. So while recording, we can do that. That can be part of recording also.
Yes, thank you, sir. Kamal sir, please ask your question again if you have any. Any question from any participant? Or shall we move to the next topic?
Yes, I think we should move
Yes, sir. We should.
because Google Classroom part is also pending that. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir.
Yeah. So then the next part is video creation using mobile. So if we want to use our mobile for video creation, so say we are not having access to say, PC or laptop, then we can even use our mobile also for recording our video lecture. So what we can do is we can download screen recorder software into our mobile, and say this AZ recorder is one option. There are many screen recorder apps are there, so we can download any of the app. So AZ recorder I have worked with. So we can what we can do is we can save our slides as PDF. So in many mobiles, if we want to run slideshow using PowerPoint slides, so that will not run properly. So there may be problems. So what you can do, you can convert your PPT into PDF, then you can open that PDF and then you can run your screen recorder software. And by connecting the headphones, you can record that screen along with your voice. So that way we can easily use our mobile for recording the video lecture. So along with slides, we can add our narration. And the one question that was also there, so we can use mobile as camera also. So if we are using our particular computer and that computer is not having camera, so then and we want to connect our mobile as camera, we want to record some video clip and we want to insert that video clip into the recorded recording. So then we can use our mobile as camera. So there are certain apps which we need to install. So this IV Cam and Droid Cam. So these are two popular apps. So we need to install IV Cam in our mobile, and also we need to download IV Cam client in our system. So let me show this from the system only. So I have this download. I have downloaded IV Cam into my system. So this is IV Cam. So this way, after downloading into computer as well as into mobile, so this will search for the device. So if I have mobile nearby, so then I can connect that mobile through Wi-Fi. So only condition is that mobile as well as the computer, so these two should be connected to same Wi-Fi network. So this in this way it is searching for the mobile. So I'm trying to connect my mobile with the computer. So now this way you can see now the video which you are video clip you are seeing on your screen is that is from the camera of my mobile. So I have connected my mobile as camera. So this can be done by connecting through Wi-Fi, or even we can connect our if our computer and our mobile are not on the same Wi-Fi connection, then we can use USB cable also. So let me try that also. So say I am not using the Wi-Fi. So this was using the Wi-Fi. So now if we have this video clip, so we can add this to our recording. Let me again close this. So I am now connecting my mobile along with the USB cable. So now my mobile is connected to through USB, and that USB cable is using my mobile as camera. So again, the same app. So with same app, we can have connection of mobile with PC through Wi-Fi or through USB cable. But when we are doing through USB cable, so what we need to do is we need to turn on USB debugging. So for that, so I will be showing you a small video. So how to do that. So if we need to turn on USB debugging, so for that, so we need to go to our mobile settings, and from the mobile settings we need to click on about phone. From about phone we need to click on this particular software information, then go to build number, and in the many mobiles we need to click 7 times over this build number. So when we click over this build number and we go 7 times over this build number and we go back, then we can see that there is developer option will be visible. So by selecting this developer option, when we go into this developer option, so then there will be USB debugging option. So we need to switch on this USB debugging option. So we need to allow USB debugging. So this is the procedure which is followed in most of the Android mobiles to turn on the USB debugging. So if we want to use mobile as camera through USB cable, then we need to turn on USB debugging. So this video was for that. So this way we can connect our mobile as camera. So this was that question, mobile as camera. So now next question is Google Classroom. So before going to Google Classroom, again, ma'am, I want to request you that if is there any question related to this particular slide?
Sir, we will now take the questions in the end only.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So let's go to then Google Classroom option. So Google Classroom is one particular tool so which we can use for different purposes. So this slide shows the various topics which we will be discussing related to Google Classroom. So we'll be discussing what we mean by Google Classroom, its benefits, then how to sign in, set up Classroom, how to create and organize classes, how to create and track assignments, how to grade and give feedback, how to communicate with the class. Even it is possible to communicate with the guardian also, and even we can set our Google Meet meetings using this classroom. So we'll be going through all this. So for that, I will be opening the Google Classroom along with this PPT slide, and we'll have hands-on. So next is, so first we'll see that what we mean by Google Classroom. So let's go for full screen. So Google Classroom makes teaching more productive um, and meaningful by streaming assignments, boosting collaboration, and fostering communication. So with this Google Classroom, so we can stream our assignments, we can collaborate, and we can communicate with the students. So teachers can create classes. We can use this for distributing assignments. We can send feedback, and all this in one place only. So we need not to switch to many different apps. And it's Google Classroom is compatible with other Google tools also. That makes it very easy to share different resources. So if we uh, further talk of Google Classroom, so then there are different options which we can explore. So there is if we want to officially use this Google Classroom with our students, so then we need to sign up for G Suite for education and G Suite for non-profits, G Suite for organizations. So there are different options. We need to sign appropriate option with the Google, then we can officially use this particular tool along with our students. Even we can also use this Google Classroom with our personal Gmail account. So that is also free and we can use. But certain options which are there, so those options are not uh, enabled if we use Google Classroom with our personal Gmail account. And we can access this Google Classroom using any of the popular browsers like Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. Such type of browsers are there. Even we have Android and iOS app for this Google Classroom, and we can control our classroom from mobile also. So there are many benefits of using Google Classroom. So easy setup is the first benefit. So teacher can set up a class, invite students, and even teachers can invite co-teachers. So one class can be taught by multiple teachers over Google Classroom. So over the classwork page, teachers can share information which may include assignments, questions, or materials. This particular second benefit of the Google Classroom is that it saves time and paper. So teachers can create classes, distribute assignments, and stay organized all in one place and without any use of any paper. That saves time. And better organization is another feature. So students can see their to-do page. So in the to-do page, they can see the upcoming work. So if there is an option of class stream, as we'll be just exploring, and there are other options of that we can upload Google our material on Google Drive, and we can share the link over the classroom, and by clicking over that link, so Google Drive files can be shared. So that also helps in enhancing communication and feedback. So teachers can provide individual feedbacks to the students when they submit assignments. There can be certain announcements can be there over the Google Classroom. So other apps like Google Docs, Google Gmail, Google Drive, other such Google apps are also compatible with this classroom. So that is another advantage. And very important thing is that it is affordable and secure. We can because this classroom is free for schools and non-profits and for individuals. So this classroom does not contain any ads. So that way, it is affordable and secure, as they promise that they will be not sharing their the contents which we upload for advertising purposes. So that is the policy of the Google. So now let's do this hands-on on how to sign in and set up Classroom. So for that, we need to open our Gmail. So from the Gmail, so here we have Google Apps. So we can go to press this particular button, and we can go to Google Classroom. So this is my personal account. From this personal account, I can also open, but I will be showing you from using my official account. So because that official account has all the options of Google Classroom. Or I will be switching between these two. So again, I will go to this particular button, and I will select Classroom. So there are different options. How do I sign into the Classroom? So school account or college account, then personal account or G Suite account, which is professional account. So this is one particular uh, Classroom page. But this has been opened using the second account. So let me open this with my this professional account. So when we sign in the first time, so it will ask about the Google Gmail email ID and password. So after entering that, so we'll be here at the classroom.google.com. So we'll have this type of page. So if we are a teacher, then we can create a class. If we are a student, then we can join a class. So here by pressing this plus button, so we can create our class or we can join class as student. So if I press this create class, so I have to enter the class name. Say I am adding this demo class. Then I can add section if required. So then I can add subject. We can enter room or we can leave as it is. And if we press this create, then our class will get created. So this is taking certain time, so it depends on the particular internet speed. So now this is our class which we have created. So demo is the name of the class, section is A. Now this is the class code. So if we want to share the class code, so if we want to invite the students, so then we need to share this class code. So there are two ways of inviting the students. So if we click on people, so we can see that here there is still there is no student. So we can invite students by clicking on this. So we can type here email and then we can press the invite. So then one email will go to that particular student which we type here. So then that student will get the link to join the class. By clicking that link, so student will be able to join the class. Or we can share that code. So that code is again visible here. So we can share this code with the students. Then students will go to their Gmail account and then they will open that Google Classroom page. And from that plus button, they will press the join. So let's see that also. So if we have that code, So if we have that code, then by pressing this button, if we press that join class, so as student they will press this join class, and here we need to enter that code. So after entering that code, if this join button will get highlighted, and we can press this join button, and then the particular student will be able to join the class. So that way we'll see one particular class card over this on the home page of Google Classroom. So this is just we have created, and this I have already created for our today's discussion. So this is how we can create class. Now after creating the class, so say we have this particular this class. So now we can go to the settings. So we can have other settings also. So we have certain general settings. We can have control the meet, generate the meet link. So we can have grading. So we'll be discussing all these one by one. So let me go to the next slide. So in this, we will discuss how to create a class, so that we have discussed. Then now how to join class as a student, so that we have seen that by pressing this, by pressing the plus button, as a student. So they will press this plus button. So after pressing the plus button, they will click this join class. After join class, they need to enter the code. So that code we need to provide to the student. So that code is generated when we generate our class. So this class code is generated. So we need to share this. Second option is that we can invite our students through email. So we can enter here multiple email addresses, and we can invite our students. So we will enter a student, they will enter the class, they will accept an invite, then they will able to join the class. Now what we can do as a teacher is, so when we have these classes generated, so we have this link for folder in G, so open folder. So whatever we store or we share with the students, so those files will be stored in onto the Google Drive folder, and the link for that folder is there on a particular class home card. So we can go to our material by clicking this particular folder. So it will redirect us to Google Drive, where that all the material which we have shared with the students, so that will be stored. So we can join or leave a class as a co-teacher. So if we have, say, this particular class, so now you can see under the people, so under teacher's name, my name is shown. So if I want to add another teacher, so then I will press on this invite teacher. I will write the name of, I will write the email of that particular teacher. So then I can send invite. So then an email will go to that particular email. So by accepting that invite, we can have two or more than two teachers in this particular class. So that way we can co-teach to a class using this classroom. Then we can also leave. So if there are co-teacher is there, so then that co-teacher can also leave the class at their own. So the next point is we can remove a student from a class. Say I open this particular second class, so sample class is there. So then I have under the people, so I have different names. If two students are there, so I can remove any particular student. So by selecting one particular student, say this I have selected a student, and under the action, so I can remove or mute that student. So that option is also there with the teacher. So then we can, next point is we can archive or delete a class. So once our semester is completed, and say we want to, we are not using, going to use that class say for the upcoming time, then we can, what we can do is we can archive that class. So from this, these three buttons, we can archive our class, or then that class will become inactive, or even we can delete our class. So that deletion of class is also possible. So, but only teacher can delete the class, co-teacher cannot delete the class. So that deletion of class is also possible. Next is set students permission to post and comment. So now say I have this one particular class. So if I go to the settings, so then here in the general setting, you can see that here there is one option stream. So then there are different options. Student can post and comment. Student can only comment, only teachers can post or comment. So we can select appropriate option as per our requirements. So then we can control the permissions which are assigned to students. Similarly, classwork on the stream. So we'll be having one stream page. So stream page is there. So say we go to this. So this is the stream page. So the stream page has a summary. So if I go to say second class, so this is the stream page. So I have this one particular notification. So I have assigned given one assignment to the students. So that announcement will be there. So over this screen, this particular stream. So what should be the size of the this announcement? So we can have compact form of announcement. So we can control that also from these general settings. So classwork on the stream show attachments and details, or we can show condensed notifications, or even we can hide notifications. So it depends on our settings. So this way we can set permissions and we can have different options. And the last point is transfer ownership of a class. So we, as if we are having multiple teachers onto a single class, then we can transfer the ownership also. So for that, so again, we need to go to this people's page. So we from this, we if we have any co-teacher, so then we need to click that teacher, and then we'll have option to transfer the ownership. So that way we can interchange the class. Say after some time, another teacher starts teaching that particular set of students, then we can transfer the ownership of class, and that teacher can then become the owner of the class, and that teacher will be able to do all the actions as the owner of the class. Now let's go to the next point. So next point is create turn in track assignments. So now that is a very important feature of the Google Classroom. So as teacher, we can create classroom assignments, and we can then check the assignments. So we'll discussing this one by one. So to create the assignment, so we need to go through this classwork page. So from this classwork page, so we need to click this create. So when we click this create, so there are different options. We'll be discussing one by one. For the simple assignment, we'll click this first option, assignment. So then this type of window will open. So we can write the title of the assignment, and we can write the instructions which are there, or we can here in the title itself we can write the questions. So we can that way close give the required information. Then we can select the class, so we can assign that assignment to all classes, or we can select the class. Even we can select the students. So if there are different students, we can give individual assignments or group assignments or common assignment to all students. Then we can have different grade categories. So we can classify our test, whether it is test or assignment. So this grade category first we need to define. So I will just first show how to define this grade category. So we need to go to the setting. So under this grading, so we need to set all the grading options also, whether we want to show total grading, total points weighted by category, no overall grade. So we can control this. Show overall grade to student, that we can also control. So here we can create those grading categories. So just I have created two categories, test and assignment. So we can add as many categories as we want. So and we can set the default points to that also. So we were discussing this creation of assignment. So the grading category entries will be visible only if we have created those grade categories. So here we can set the maximum points, or we can mark this assignment as ungraded. We can set the due date using this option. We can assign different topics. So here we can create the topic, chapter name, or any topic which we want to create, so under which we want to give the assignment. So those topics can be created and those can be selected. So like I have already created one topic, test one, or if I want to create any new topic, then I will just click the create topic. Then that topic will be shown there. So that is now this assignment one will be the new topic. So this rubrics and check plagiarism. So we can also check plagiarism. So these are certain advanced versions. So at this point we'll not discuss this. So we can also design our own rubrics to mark the assignment. So that the rubric part is also possible with this. So if we want to share any attachment with the students, so then we can press on this add. So we can add any link, or we can select any Google link from Google Drive, or we can have any link of that page or any other link. We can even upload the file which when we post the assignment, so that file will go to the students. Even if we press this YouTube, so then we can search the YouTube video from here, and then we can add to the assignment, or we can add the link of the YouTube video. So we can post the link of the YouTube video here, and then that link can be added to the assignment. So after doing all this, if we say type the title, so this assign button will become active. So we can immediately assign the particular topic to the students, or we can schedule an assignment, or we can save draft, and we can then add it after say some time, and then we can assign. So there we can assign immediately. We can schedule a particular date and time for assignment, or even we can create the assignment and we can save the assignment in draft. So these all options are possible with the assignment creation. So now, after posting the assignment, say we need to edit that assignment. Say this assignment I have already posted yesterday for this particular today's discussion. So if I want to edit that assignment, so then I can press on this button. Then I can go to this edit. So then I can edit the assignment also after posting. So even after posting, we can edit the assignment if requirement is there. Then that assignment editing is also possible from this classwork page. So if we go to this, we can go to this these three buttons, and we can press edit. So then we can edit our assignment as per our requirement. Now say this particular assignment I have posted to one class. So now I want to post same assignment to second class. So then I can reuse an assignment. So how to reuse that assignment? So then I will go to create, then I will go to reuse post. So I will press this on reuse post. So then all the different classes will be shown here along with the posts which are there. So let this open. It is taking certain time. So the already posted assignments to different classes will be shown here. Then we can select one particular assignment which we want to reuse, and then by selecting that assignment, we can reuse into our desired class. I'm not sure why it is taking so much time. Generally, it does not take so much time. Let me open again. So create reuse post. Yeah. So now, for example, this sample class, even from our particular class, we can use reuse. Even from different class also we can reuse. So I have selected this different class. So I have yesterday assigned this particular assignment to the students of that sample class. So now I can reuse. So it will be available for another class also. So I have to select that. I am reusing. So here you can see that that sample test and all those options which were there. So already those options have been included in this particular assignment. Now I can assign this using the again assign button to the students of this particular class. So this way I can reuse an assignment also. So now let's delete an assignment is the final option. So once we have a particular assignment, then that assignment can also be deleted. Like here we have not assigned that particular assignment, so it is saved as a draft. So if I want to delete, so I can press this delete, and then this assignment can be deleted from one particular class. Now let's go to the next part. So now next is after the assignment of class. So uh, okay, before that there are other options: create a quiz assignment, create a question, add material to class. So just what we have discussed is under this create we have discussed is this first option only, create an assignment. So we can create quiz assignment, we can create question, we can add material which can be shared with the students. This reuse post we have discussed. This topic creation is also there. So let's go to this quiz assignment. So which is the very popular type of assignment which we use with the students. So we create the quiz, self-grading quiz. So when we assign the this quiz to the students, so then students when they attempt the quiz, they can get immediate scores depending upon our settings. Say we want to create a quiz assignment, so then certain options are same as already we have seen in the assignment creation. So let we are uh, creating this title demo one. So I'm selecting for class of this particular demo class, or I can select for other class students. Then all students maximum points, say I want to keep this as 5. I want to set due date, so let I set the due date of Monday. I can also set the time. So then I can add the topic. So there is currently no topic, so we can create the topic. So let test one is the topic. So now if I want to create the quiz, then already this blank Google form will be there. So I need to click this blank quiz. So this by clicking over this, so we'll be going to the Docs application. So here we can see that this is a simple Google form. So here we can create the quiz, our quiz. Say this is the title of the quiz. So again, say, we can add any title of the quiz. So here we can add the question. Say I want to add the question. Uh, what is full form of SSIET? So this is my question. So now there are different options which we can have for the question. So we can have short answer question if we want to want the student should write at their own. So we can select the short answer option, or we can have paragraph type of option. But most popular is that we can go for this multiple choice. So we can write certain full forms out of which one may be correct. So we can go for that multiple choice. So let we go for some other question. What is say sum of 3 and 5? So then option can there can be different options. 35, say 8, say 15, or none. So this way we can enter the options. So we can make this question as compulsory by clicking here. Then we can add the answer key from this by clicking over this. So answer key. So we can assign the marks to this question. So say we want to assign 1 mark for one question. So then what is sum of 3 and 5? So sum is 8. So we can mark this correction and then we can done. So now we have saved the answer key. So after even doing this, so now there is, you can see there is one error. So we have not put the question mark. So we can edit that question easily. So by just clicking, so this is now corrected question. So this is our first question is ready. Now say I want to enter the second question. So second question can be entered from by clicking over this plus. So then we'll have same type of window. We can have second question, or even if we want to copy this question, so we can duplicate this question. So what is sum of 3 and 5 instead of say I want to write what is product of 3 and 5. So then we can change this question. We can copy the question, and if we can do the necessary changes, even we can change the answer key. So earlier answer was 8, so now question answer is 15. So we can mark that 15 as correct answer. Done. So this way we can create the question. So even when we add question, so there can be check boxes where multiple questions, multiple choices are correct. So we can go for this check boxes option. So then we can have drop down options. So where we can enter certain options and student need to select one particular option. So drop down option can be there. We can also upload some files. So if we want that student should upload the file, then we can go for this one particular option. So then let respondent upload file to Drive. So then we have to turn on this option. So if we want that student should upload the file, then from this file upload form, so we only allow specific types of file types. So we can set certain specific types of files. If we want to, that only they should upload the PDF, image, video. So that type of option can be set from here. Maximum number of file we can set, maximum file size we can set. So that way we can set the this type of question also. Say we are saying upload your resume. this way we can do this also. Another thing which I want to show is that we can import questions. In the last slide, on the last slide, we have seen the reusing of the assignment. So here, if we want to reuse certain questions, so then we can press this. So we can press this import questions. Then we can from our Google Drive, so we can go to already created Google Forms. Say this was yesterday's form. So I have selected that form. So I want to say use certain questions. So all the questions of that particular Google form are now available. So now I can select particular questions, then I can import those questions. So this is easily we can this way import the questions. So after our all the questions are ready, so then we need to go to the settings. So from the settings, we need, if we want to collect emails, so then we need to collect here on this option, collect email addresses. So we can also collect on this so that whenever the student responds, so they can request for the copy of the responses or we can set to always. So also we can restrict the users. So if now I am using NITTTR domain, so I can restrict the users which are there only this in this domain. So only those can submit answer to this quiz. So I can also limit to one response so that students are not able to submit multiple. Then there are other options which I can set, edit after submit, see summary chart. So all these things we can control. So even under this presentation, so we can type our message. So generally when we submit, so this is the by default message, your response has been recorded. Or if we want to give any other response, so that response can also be typed here. So and if we click on save, so then all those changes are saved here. So once we have done with this our Google Docs part, then we'll again move to Google Classroom and we'll press assign here. So then when we press this assign, that Google form which we have created, so that form will go to the students which are enrolled in the class, so they will be able to attempt that particular class assignment. Now, when they attempt this particular assignment, so they will be able to see their particular responses also, correct responses also. So before going toward the grading part, so let me discuss briefly, as already time has passed, so I will be hurriedly discussing the remaining part. So we can add question, so that as we have added the assignment, we can even post one question from this link. Then from this material button, so we can share the material with the students. So by clicking this add button, so we can attach any type of material depending on the option. Depending on the type of material, we can select a particular option and we can share our material with the students. So then under the next thing is topics. So if we have multiple topics, then we can manage those topics also. So that I will show using other type of classroom. Say this is one particular Google Classroom. So where I am having different topics. So under classwork, so these are different topics, day 3 to 5, day 2 to 5. So I can move these topics up and down. So I can edit these topics. So I can arrange our material topic wise. So that way we can manage, we can add topics to our class and we can manage those topics. So the next important point is grade and give feedback. So say we have assigned to the assignment to the class, and when they attempt the assignment, so they will be able to see their particular grades. So even we can see under the classwork, so what we have done. So we say I have this assignment which I have assigned to my students. So I will click on this. So there was two students. So one student has turned in and one I have already graded. So two students were there. So when they submit the assignment, so there will be turned in option which will be having that count. So if student has not yet submitted the assignment, then that student will be categorized under this assigned tab. So if I see this, go to this view assignment, so then you can see that there are two students. So one I have already graded. So second student has submitted, but still I have not graded. So there are total 5 points. So total 5 is shown, but the student has not been yet graded. So let me show how to grade this. So I will go to this student's work. So So this was the sample test which he has turned in. Okay, let me go to the grading part. We will again go to class. So I will go to this grades part. So this student has submitted this assignment which has not been yet checked by me. So if I press on this view submission, so here you can see that these grades are not shown yet because we have not still marked this assignment. So when I press this return, sorry, first I need to grade the assignment. So let me go to the grading of this assignment. Let me go to the grading of the assignment. I think there is a to review. I go to review. So yeah, so under this to review, so I have this pending work. So I have to review this one class. So marked as review. So when I mark this as reviewed, so this will go to the this reviewed section. So when I go to the student work, so if I have marked the student and I want to import the grade, so this is now option that. So I will need to go to student work. So under student work, I need to go to import grade. So this is self grading assignment. So we have set the question marks while designing the assignment. So after submitting the assignments, so this assignment will be self graded, and just I need to do is import grade. So if I click on the import grade, so I will be prompted to click this on this import. So after the importing of the grades, so under now grades button, so we can see that the 5 marks has been awarded to that particular second student also. So already we can see that those marks which have been scored by the student. So there is no need to enter those marks manually. So we can use import button, and this way we can import the grades of all the students, and we can have a grade book for our whole class. So that option can be there. So when we press this return, so student will be able to see that the teacher has marked the assignment and the teacher has inserted the grades. So after pressing the return, so now you can see the overall grade of the students are also visible. So here that way we can have multiple assignments. So in under the overall grade category, we'll have the overall percentage of that those students that will be visible to us. So this way, this import grading is very useful. And also, if we go to the assignments, we can provide individual feedback. So I also want to show quickly that. So grade and return, view and update gradebook, so that we have seen. So if we go to student work, so then if we go to assignments, view details. So we can provide the feedback to particular student. That feedback can be individual feedback, or that feedback can be combined feedback. So right now I'm skipping that particular option. So let me complete the next option also. So there is one option of providing feedback also. So for providing feedback, so we can add our comments to student work. So we can go to student work. So then we need to open student work. This is student work. So we need to open the student work because we have already graded. I think that is the reason. So that option is not coming up. So while grading, so that option will be there. So where we can provide the comments. So we can provide the comments and we can form the comment book. So we can select those comments from the comment book, or we can type while giving the feedback. With this, let's move to the next part. So next part is communicate with your class. So we can communicate with class with different options. So we can select go to one particular class. This is class stream. So over this class stream, so we can post any announcement for the students. So we can type announcements here. So or even we can add certain notices, or we can if we want to share certain files, we can add those files here. We can even email our students. So if we want to email to our students, then we can go to the email people's page. So let's go to the second class. So there are two students. So if we want to email, then we can go to select these students. Then actions are there. So you can email the students. We can email from the this classroom only. So we can select this email option. Then our email will be sent to the students from our email account. Even on the stream also, we can reuse a post. So this button is there, so where we can reuse the post which has been already posted on different classrooms. So we can reuse that post, and even we can randomly select the students and we can post those any query to those students, or any post we can direct to particular students. If we have downloaded this Google Classroom app over mobile devices, then from the mobile devices also we can communicate with our students. So there is no need to go to PC. So from mobile only we can communicate with our class. So then finally this class video meeting. So this I will not cover in detail, because of their next session is only on the this tool Google Class using the Google Meet and the options. So at this point, what I will show is that we can create Google Meet using Classroom also. So here from the settings, we can see that there is option of setting the Google link. So we can create our Google Meet link and we can share with the students. Even we can generate the Google link, which can be saved. Meet link can be shared, and we can after some desired time we can share that link. So this Google Meet can be initiated from Google Classroom page also. And then if we are using this Google Meet, so then there are certain options which gives us controls. Only teachers can create the Google meeting, so student cannot create. Even student cannot start a meeting before the teacher joins that particular meeting. Then even the students will not be able to rejoin the meeting once they exit the meeting if teacher meeting is closed by the teacher. And these permissions can vary depending upon the setup which you are using for your particular. So we were at this concluding slide, that what we have discussed, that various tools which we have discussed. So the e-tools, so we can club those tools under helpful tools names, so because these are very helpful for teachers for communicating with the class, for generating our lectures. So these are easy to use tools, and these are open and free tools. We need not to spend anything in using these tools. So these tools can be selected depending upon our teaching needs. So there are only we have discussed two or three tools depending upon the application. So if we have some different teaching needs, so we can select appropriate free tool. So, but only with the practice of these tools, we will be more comfortable with, while using these tools. And another thing is that online help is available for these tools, which we can refer to while using if we have any difficulty. For even Google tools, the help pages are very much organized. For other tools like OpenShot Video Editor or OBS Video Editor, so there are many YouTube videos which we can refer to for doing different tasks if we want to use them. So with this, thank you very much for your cooperation and for your patient listening. So
Thank you very much, sir.
I would like to take up those questions.
Yes, sir. So one question is that if the tools we have discussed that requires laptop or desktop, and what if we want to use about the mobile?
This Google Classroom can be used from mobile also. So there is no condition that we can only log in through the desktop or laptop. So Google Classroom can be used from mobile also. Even other Google tools. So if we want to create presentation and we want to use Google Docs, so that all can be done from mobile only. And for earlier tools, video editing, video recording, so there are mobile apps also which facilitate the recording using mobile also. So there is no such compulsory requirement of PC. But yes, using if we are using PC, then it is more easy to work with PC. So that is the only option.
Sir, the whiteboard option is there in Google Classroom.
Whiteboard option means live writing. So that is we can post with to the students. So whiteboard option is general is what I suppose is not there. So or I have not used that. So whiteboard option is not there to best of my knowledge. So we can create our different things and we can share with the students. Yes, if we are assuming that if we are writing on stream page, so that's what we are writing. That is basically a type of whiteboard. But if we specifically say that link of whiteboard type of thing, that is not there. But stream we can use as whiteboard. So that stream is there. That can be used as whiteboard.
Thank you, sir. How to save the quiz assignment?
So that we have discussed. Let me open again that Google. So if we go to classroom, so when we create any particular assignment, say I have created this particular class, so where I have assigned to the students, so this is our assignment. So if I go to view assignment, so when we create this assignment, and this assignment is created in docs. So whenever we create this assignment, so in docs it is auto save mode is always open. Always on. So these assignments, these Google Docs are saved in our Google Drive. So when we use this class, so we are using a Gmail account. So the drive of that Gmail account will have the saved assignment or any other material which we post to the class. So that material will be saved to our associated Google Drive. So we need not to explicitly save the assignments because while we create, so those assignments are automatically saved into Google Drive, and these are available from Google Classroom also. So this is, I think,
So
the question
OBS
answer
is
of this
open software. Any license issue with that?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
OBS is open software or any license is needed?
OBS is open software. Even OpenShot is open source software. So both are tools which we have discussed. So those are open source softwares. But we can download and we can use. Any other question?
Can we provide the student with access to give a video presentation in Google Classroom in case we have given a seminar topic to the student?
Yes, that can be done using Google Meet. So Google Classroom, we can share the file. So if we want to share the video, so we can give the link of the Google Meet through the classroom, and then we can do those presentations through Google Meet. So Google Meet app is there for video conferencing or video presentations. So we need to use Google Meet or any other video conferencing app which we want to. Google Meet is compatible, or we can control link of the Google Meet through the classroom.
Can we use notepad or sticky notes during the session?
During the session means live session. If we are saying live session, so on live session, I think next session is on Google Meet only. So I think that thing I leave for Monica to answer. So how to provide notes or other things if it is possible in Google Meet. So, but with Classroom, we can attach any type of, whether we want to attach notepad file, so we can share that file to the students by through the adding on the stream or through the add material button on this classwork page. So here under the create, we can add material. So here we can add any type of file from, we can browse our file from our drive and we can share. So files we can share from this.
So the lecture is automatically saved, or we have to select the option?
Lectures, again, if the participant is asking, whether asking from live lecture point of view, or not sure that what the participant want to ask. So if we talk of Google Classroom, so whatever we share, we add material to the Google Classroom, so that material will be automatically saved. So like I have shared with this class, I have shared this study material. So this study material is automatically saved on for my reference also. So these different files have been shared with the students. So and these are saved on the Google Classroom page.
Can we download the lecture from Google Class?
Yes, we can download these files. So if we open this file, any file, so this file will open, then we will have download button. So then we can download these different files or the material which have been shared by the teacher. So we can download. Even if the teacher has allowed, so the students can upload on this stream part. So this stream part is having options where students can upload. So if teacher can control these options, even student can upload over the stream and they can share with their classmates using this classroom.
Is there any setting options while creating quiz so that it is being visible to only registered students and it should not be opened by anyone else if it is being opened by using link of the quiz?
Actually, while assigning the quiz, so let me again go to this create.
So I think we are already late.
Yes, so while assigning the quiz, so we can assign to all students or we can control the these buttons. So we can assign control the number of students from this while assigning the quiz. So we have this option of all
Yes.
students or flexing the students. We can do that.
So is there any limit on the number of students?
Yes, if we are using Gmail account, then there is a personal Gmail account. So then that there is limit of 250 participants along with teachers. So there can be maximum 250 participants. But if we are using organization account, so then that depends on the setting which has been done by the administrator. So there is limit 250 limit in personal Gmail account. That is there. Even there is limit of number of classes also.
So now we will take the last question. Can we maintain attendance record of the students in Google Classroom?
Yes, we can give the attendance as question, as assignment, so they can respond to that question. So like here we can create a question. So we can say mark your attendance. When the student mark their attendance, so that response will be recorded into one particular destination. Or we can daily give this question and we can assign the destination. One Excel sheet or the Google sheet can be assigned. So all the responses will be stored there. So we can then use those responses as attendance. That can be done.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you, ma'am.
delivering such an informative lecture and taking all the queries very patiently and answering to all the queries. So Sonu ma'am want to say something, so I request ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sir Dariwal. It was undoubtedly a very informative session. And I hope that all the faculty and staff members who have attended this session must utilize these tools and must make it in an effective, must make the use of this in an effective teaching learning program. Before I say further, Suman ma'am, I would like to say, आपको पता है मैं आदत से मजबूर हूँ. I can see few of my members, leaving the session and coming back and leaving the session. To all the staff members and faculty members who are belonging to SSIT or the other institutions as well, it's a humble request. When such kind of webinar sessions are conducted, the people who are at the expertise and who are, sparing their precious time for us, we must respect them and must value the session. And it is really disheartening to see people are coming in and people are leaving the meeting. This is unacceptable. Of course, I'm going to take action against the people who belong to SSIT, but to other members as well, it is a humble request. We all are in a teaching profession. We must respect and value the time. each and every slide, each and every word being delivered by Professor Dhariwal was very informative. And I must admit it, sir, menu enna sab kuch nahi pata siga. It was there on Google. Of course, I have been, using these tools to up to the knowledge, whatever small knowledge I have. But certain things were not known to me, and I admit it. And I do not feel any shame into it because every step is a learning thing. I mean, we should be learners all through our life. And today I have learned a lot by attending your session, sir. Thank you so much again and again and again. Dr. Suman, I have no words to express my gratitude towards you because it was purely your initiative. And then rest I'll speak to my faculty members later on. You please continue.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Thalwal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So now we are
Thank you,
moving.
ma'am. So, sorry for your interruption. So, I also want to thank you, Dr. Suman Patnaik, for providing this platform, for sharing my expertise. I also thank all the SSIT administration for their support in delivering this session. So, I thank you all
Thank you, sir.
once again.
Thank you very much, sir.